Hello class, today I would want us to look at a few things, majorly setting up our Visual Studio Code in case there are those that are still having certain challenges, but even though you don't have those challenges, in particular there is something you could pick one or two from this tutorial. One way is that the assumption we are dealing with is that you have already installed your VS Code, and then we can start from there, so we don't need to go through that process. After installing everything here, you would have maybe something that would look like this, or with the new page that says welcome and all the things. So the most important thing here is you can go to File and then say Preferences. This is autosave by default, it is not ticked, but because we've been having other classes, that is why mine is ticked. If yours is not, you can tick it from here, or you can change the settings like I'm going to show you. So maybe we can remove the autosave for now, then we shall see. So you can go to File, Preferences, Settings, and under Settings there is User, there is Workspace. Literally you can see apart from Workspace, user has got another function called Security here, but the rest is literally the same. So whichever side you choose, you should be able to change these. In previous years, you would have a certain section where you do these settings, and then you copy paste them, edit them, and then you save, and then they take effect. In the new ones, you just have to select whatever you want as options. So one, I would want to do an autosave, that this everything I type should automatically save, and you can see after delay, on focus change, on window change. Here you can choose after delay, because you are saying that after you have typed and there is some bit of seconds that have not yet typed, then it should automatically save that. But I prefer not to use it here. I prefer to come here on File and then say autosave. Still you can see it picks after delay. So there is another function here. You can change the font size of how these items look. By default they are 14. On a web page they would be 16. So if you want huge fonts, you could come here and change this to 20, and then maybe you would be able to see how 20 looks like. You can see these are quite huge numbers. If we go back and change it to 14, we can come back and see how 14 looks like. So that is, apart from using the normal functions of zoom, Ctrl plus and minus, we could also change them from there. There are other things. This is font family, whichever font family they begin. By default, this is the first font family, the next would be monospace, then this, and then this as a fallback. So if you want to change that, you can also change it from there. There are other features. There are many features here that you can read through and change the way you would want them to look like. An example is a cursor. For example, by default it is blinking. When you go back here, you can see it blinking, but we could change that on cursor here. Move on top a little. If you have a mouse, you would be able to do these things easily than the touchpad of your laptop. So cursor blinking, you could say maybe expand. If I come here, you see it is expanding, not blinking. Maybe you could also say that instead of a line you want maybe for example a block. When you come here, that is a block for you, too big. You could come here and say maybe you want block outline, see, or you could just say I want an underline. Then it will look like that. Before that you would want to go back to the same things, then you just say line, and here you are. So I'm going to leave mine instead of blinking to expand. There are other functions here. We said expand, you could say maybe smooth, and we see how that looks like. Then we could do say phase, see phase. Then you could maybe say solid, and then it is just stuck like that. So I will leave mine under expand, but the default one is blink. I will change mine to expand. So that way you can go through all these. We have looked at the font size, you can look at formatting, you can look through all these, and all that is okay. So the next one we want us to look at is extensions. You can use Visual Studio Code for most of the programming languages, and we can do that through extensions, but currently we are focusing on HTML, CSS, and maybe JavaScript, but for the extensions of HTML and CSS, those are okay. I just want to show you where you have other extensions, or where you can find other extensions. This icon currently is the one being used for extensions. This one would look at the run functions. We are going to look at it also. This would be fine. So when I click on extensions, there are those I've already installed because I keep using this all the time. For many, you can see C++, C. I have others for say PHP. There are those that are already installed. But in case you want certain extensions, you would search the name of the extension or the language, and then the extensions would come. This I would want maybe Sense, and then I would want Debug. These others you can just click on it here, then before you install it. Okay, so it is important to read those extensions before you install them. They always have their tutorials down where you can watch what that one does. There is this one here as a PHP server. You could read it, you could read through and see what this actually is supposed to do. So as others are installed, you could be reading some and see what's example, the direct one. A server have to worry about extensions, but it is good to read about them and understand how to use them. So there is another thing I would want with extensions. The most important ones I would want you to install. One is what we call live server. I've already installed mine. You can see it here. These are types of live servers that are installed, and what does that help us? We are going to look at it in general. Then there is another one that you can call auto rename. We have it here. You install that tag. Like I said, you click on it and it tells you what it does. If you are going to see how to use it after installing it. Then there is auto close tag, but this is also done automatically by Visual Studio Code. So whether you have a Visual Studio IDE or even Sublime, all these automatically. That's what this is trying to tell you. Automatically add, same as Visual Studio IDE or Sublime Text does. So this is already there because every time you type your HTML tag, it is automatically closed. So you might not need this, but you can just install it if you want. So we have also other things. So we've installed live server, auto close, and then auto rename tag. So after installing those, you could come and, for example, if you want to go back, you click here for Explorer. You have created a folder, and now you have created this HTML file. Now you want to do your page structure. So the good thing with those that you have installed is that when you now press, because we are using HTML5, remember, when you press the exclamation mark to write, say, exclamation mark dot type HTML for HTML5 versions and above, then you can just press enter and it will complete your page. This is the same thing as in Sublime, whereas Sublime uses simply the opening tag HTML, and then you press enter and the whole page comes up. Now there are other things that we can use which are very important, like this major to detect what's the device size or the screen size, the same as this, checking for compatibility of other web pages and what we will refer to as WebKits as we design. Now, because we have a live server that as an extension we have installed, we can right click. We can just right click here because there is nothing here to check. So we can just right click where these words are, and then you say open with live server. Automatically it should open what you set as your default browser. If you have Mozilla, Chrome, or if you are still using Internet Explorer, if you set it as your web browser, default web browser, then that's what will be opened. What it is going to open is that it will open a tab that has got only the title for now. So our title that we are expecting is a document. Right down here, Visual Studio Code tells you the server port that is being used. Okay, if you want, you can close it from here. It is port 5500. If you have done some small networking, you will know that the first class or class A would run from 10 to 126 because the 127 is designated for such servers or local servers. And now when we check on your Chrome, you will find that it is reading 127.0.0.15500, which is the port being used for listening. Now, what does the live server do? If I minimize this and maybe bring this up a bit here, I can show you what this does. So I am going to the body section. Once I type H1, because I have set autosave, you can see it here being typed quickly. I hit enter, it becomes a tag and then goes off. Now it has detected that that is a tag, so it should not be displayed. Then I can say welcome to Sky Codes. So here it is. You can even realize spelling errors. So welcome Sky Codes. It means now whatever I type, I don't need to refresh my page because I've set it to live server. Whatever I type, then it should be able to pick these items. If it was an image to be inserted or picked from wherever, or maybe now I am using a paragraph here, then I would be able to look at that, I could say login, meaning all the designs I would want to use in CSS and stuff like that. I would quickly be able to see them as my page. Alternatively, I could put this side and then put this side. So that is how you can go about it. Those are some of the important things I wanted you to look at. Another thing I would want to draw your attention to would be something concerning JavaScript that we shall be looking at in the future. One thing that so I have created a file and saved it as index.js because that is the extension of JavaScript. Now there are quite a number of ways how you can run these scripts. I'm going to show you around 3 or 4 ways, then I tell you the preferences. One of them is by going to your terminal, whereby we call it command prompt in Windows, and then Linux and others call it terminal. I could come to my terminal here, and maybe inside this file I have typed say console.log, a function we use to paste our results onto a certain terminal or output. So here I could say hello world. So with this I could run it from here. We are going to look at those ways. So I come to my terminal here and I locate. I'm going to do this, then I will explain the other side of Windows. Let me see. Okay, could just come here, try to explain that side of Windows. So you would say that terminal and head over to the folder no CD desktop. Linux is different because it is case sensitive. Then I could run ls for Linux to see the folders I am targeting. On the desktop there are those folders, but I would want to head over to where my file is located. I can say cd documents because my folder is in documents. Say ls, there are quite many. I have saved this under a folder called JavaScript, and I can run ls to see what is there. Now you can see this is index.js. So the first thing you need to test is the node is node.js. What we use to run JavaScript codes, or one way of running JavaScript codes, using node.js. Others would load the JSON and stuff like that. So node-v is to check the version of the node.js I have. That should almost be the current version. If you are using Linux and you don't have it, it should be able to tell you that you do not have it and how to install it. For example, you can say sudo apt install node.js and then hit enter. With that you would be able to install node.js. It installs, you follow the prompts of yes and all that stuff. Then after installing you go back to the same process. For the Windows case, you would then can finish this. Now that I have node there, I could say node. Then remember, this is very case sensitive for Linux. In Windows you can play around with the case sensitivity. By that it means you need to make sure the file name is exactly the way it is. If you are not sure, you could copy it here, maybe. Okay, you could copy it here and then you paste it there. You are sure when you hit enter it runs, then gives you your results. So we shall be using that for this time. We could add on something else, something small here, just to give you a hint on what we shall be covering in the tutorial. When you're done with understanding so I could use that the console.log, because this is not need to put it in quotation when the right time for this is spelling. So if you have changed that, then you can simply come to your terminal once again and try rerunning the same file, because right now it is reading hello world, and now we can choose to run it again here after the other side being saved. Then it pick whatever file was saved. Now you can see it is saying hello world 5. What is it reading? It is reading this sum, because a plus b 2 plus 3 is 5. Alternatively, but mainly this is where we shall be running. Let me show you the other side of Windows in case you have forgotten some of your syntax. Here I typed cd desktop because I was working with the desktop. That's where my file is called HTML and CSS. I prefer this because when you are at the command prompt, they might be hard to understand. The command prompt might understand the function and to mean something else. So if you have a folder that is saying HTML and CSS, please you can change that to HTML, say dash or underscore, or just HTML CSS as one word. Avoid spaces once again, otherwise you will have to keep every time use quotation marks. So CSS desktop, after reaching there, you can see I again said cd HTML CSS to go to that particular folder, this folder, because it was up here. See, so now at this command prompt where you are typing cd HTML underscore CSS, you hit enter. After that you could run dir or for directory dir. In Linux we are running ls. Then you access, it shows you whatever is inside this folder. The most important folder we want is this, so you could say cd, like here, see cd javascript, you go to that folder, you type dir, you hit enter, then it tells you the files that are there. What we are looking for is index.js. After doing that, then you can test the same thing, node-v for version, and because I was using a lower version of Windows, which is Windows 7, I chose Windows 7 because Windows 8, 10, 11, those ones are able to use the current version of Node.js, but the older versions like Windows 7 the easiest function or the easiest version of Node.js to work is this 13.14.0. So the same thing after that, if it is installed, if it's not installed, you go online, you can now maybe type in could go online and simply say Node.js. You can say Node.js download, okay, Node.js.org. You can search if it has a page that is index of if that page exists on their site, then it would be easy to get it. So that is not the page we are looking for. We can simply type in lower versions of Node.js or Node.js for Windows 7. There are several other things. You can click on this guy's site, Node.js for Windows 7, and inside here you would be able to locate your link. The steps are here. Click to take you to the link here, and after you click on this link, then what we are looking for is this 64-bit, but one that you can install. This, not a zipped folder, but one with an executable function. So you can click on this, it will start downloading, and after downloading you are able to install it on your Windows platform. After installing it, most cases Windows requires that you restart your machine. You go back to your terminal here. If you are in Windows, you go back to your terminal, now say node-version. After reaching here, because it is important to test this version inside the folder, then it will be able to determine that actually this version exists. Now you can run node, then your file once again, and that file will be executed. So this was the login server. Alternatively, you could come here, go to run, you say start debugging, run without debugging, stop debugging, and all those. Or you could say view, I am interested in the output. This will bring me the output function. We also have a function of a terminal that already reads where this folder is. Okay, it already reads where this folder is. So we could say node index.js. So it's as if I'm using the same terminal here, and then will give me the results and exit. Alternatively, you could use the Debug Console. Come here and select, there are all these where you can project your output to the page, to a web page you created. You could simply say Node.js process, which is quite better. Then you could come and be using the terminal. Every time you run, then this is a restart for running. It's not finding the session because we are not selecting anything. We've already finished running. These are shortcuts: run without debugging, stop debugging, start debugging, stuff like that. Then you will be able to see this. But the cool thing also is that you have your terminal here, one that you can use just the same as this terminal. So that is all that was of interest today. Shall be coming up with other updates when questions and need arises. Thank you.